Now let's see what he decides to do. The Slippery Salamander pulling back a little bit. He really doesn't have to. He's got this. I guess he's waiting for a few more reinforcements, but that really might have cost him the game. He could have done a lot of damage, but he's allowing BoxeR the time to regroup. But nonetheless, the Slippery Salamander is going to clean up BoxeR's defenses really quickly, and he's going to have free reign here for a little bit. Let's see what he decides to go after. He's forced BoxeR's SCVs to retreat, but he doesn't chase them. He's going to go up into the main, and I think this is a mistake. That's where all the reinforcing units are going to pop out. But the Slippery Salamander is forcing BoxeR to pull SCVs off of his main to deal with this attack. And it really is just going to come down to how many harvesters the Slippery Salamander can kill. And it looks like the harvester count just refreshed. And BoxeR's now down by 8 harvesters. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We're talking about BoxeR here. One of the greatest StarCraft players of all time. He's got impeccable micro, and one of his greatest abilities is getting the most out of each unit that he has. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough damage to put BoxeR down. I really think the Salamander should not have delayed so much initially in that attack. Looks like BoxeR just finished up combat shields for his Marines, while the Slippery Salamander's got a lot of add-ons for a lot of barracks. Going to be sticking with that biological play for a little while. I'm sure it's because he's encouraged by the success that he's had so far. But BoxeR's a bit smarter than that, transitioning into siege tanks, which is exactly what he needs to deal with the ghosts, what he needs to deal with large amounts of biological units. And it doesn't matter how much damage the Slippery Salamander did to BoxeR previously. If you've got the wrong unit composition, it can mean an entirely different game. And siege tanks with infantry backup, with medevacs to heal, that's a very, very formidable army, especially against a strictly biological army that the Slippery Salamander is going for. Now he's going to try and get that high yield, but meanwhile BoxeR dropping on the Slippery Salamander's main. He's going to take out some SCVs, delaying a supply depot there, but he's really getting distracted, attacking multiple targets, not really finishing any one thing off, finally getting pushed away by the Slippery Salamander's large army. But at least he's keeping the Slippery Salamander in his base, and he did actually manage to even up the resources lost count. They're actually nearly identical now. It's actually a very, very close game. BoxeR had his expansion longer, but took more economic damage in terms of harvesters lost, while the Slippery Salamander now trying to go ahead and set up a high yield expansion. BoxeR on the production tab getting some upgrades, and he's getting a Ghost Academy of his own. While it looks like the Slippery Salamander has abandoned the Ghost play altogether. I guess he decided that it wasn't as cost effective anymore. It's hard to say if that was the right choice. I don't think he can beat this siege tank infantry combination with only biological units, unless he has a Ghost in there to snipe away BoxeR's infantry, leaving his tanks exposed. Otherwise he really has no way to get to the tanks if they're in the back, just dealing massive damage to the infantry from long range. Now if we look at the army tab, they're actually very, very close. But if you analyze it a little bit, the Slippery Salamander has actually a very, very large harvester advantage. He's got 15 more harvesters, which means he has a 15 supply smaller army comparatively. And he also has no siege tanks. I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble if BoxeR decides it's time to push ahead and attack. Now some people ask me to show the APM tab, and I'm happy to do that. The current APM is actually quite high for these players, and they're both professional level players, so the average APM is well over 100. Sometimes that's a little bit inflated because there is APM spam, especially at the beginning of the game. But it looks like we're going to have that big army clash. There's two huge army balls. Right, that didn't come out quite right. They have two very large armies, what I mean to say. But I really give the advantage to BoxeR. Even if he can't get in a position to siege his tanks, I still think he'll win the battle. But it's imperative that BoxeR moves ahead now, before the Slippery Salamander gets too much of an economic advantage from that high yield. And he's gonna walk by those siege tanks who have vision with the watchtower. That's a death trap. Oh, mate, that's bad news for our little Salamander. If he had a chance, it's surely gone now. He's going to push ahead, stem up, and try and attack, but even without the tank sieged, he's going to lose it. BoxeR adding insult to injury by EMPing the medevacs. And that's going to be it. Good game from the Slippery Salamander. And he did indeed put up a good fight. He had some great Ghost Micro, interesting unit composition, but I think he made a couple critical mistakes. First was engaging here at all. He definitely had an economic advantage, having this high yield up. He was ahead in harvesters and number of expansions, and you can see his minerals per minute actually double that of BoxeR. And back in BoxeR's base, there's really not much. That's really where the Slippery Salamander should have attacked, forcing BoxeR to retreat. Then he should have run away. That way he would have bided his time, allow him a few more production cycles to get up, because the Slippery Salamander had more units rallying. It's not actually a trivial amount of units already on the map, and then he has 6 barracks queued up, a medevac queued up, and there are several buildings almost finished with their production. So he'd have quite a lot more units already, and with every passing minute that he buys time with that cat and mouse maneuver, he'd be able to pull ahead in production because he has such a commanding resource lead. But that's part of StarCraft, it's decision making. Unfortunately for him, I think he made the wrong decisions in that final attack, but also he delayed in that attack where he really had the advantage, allowed BoxeR to have the time to prepare for the onslaught, as well as get closer to one more production cycle finishing, so he had reinforcements, and he attacked inside the base rather than taking out BoxeR's expansion, which would have economically crippled him and put the Slippery Salamander ahead for the rest of the game. But don't let me tell you how it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on whether the Slippery Salamander had a shot in this game, or if BoxeR had it well in hand the entire time. Post in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. It's been I Dare Say StarCraft, and I'll see you next time.